definitely one of the best days of my life, and I think also for a lot of people here at SpaceX, it's the culmination of a dream.
We have liftoff of the Falcon 9.
Crew Dragon is in orbit.
Capture is confirmed.
LZ-1, the Falcon has landed.
SpaceX Falcon Heavy, go for launch.
And both boosters have successfully landed at LZ-1 and LZ-2.
The 7,000 women and men of SpaceX understand what a sacred honor this was. So thank you very much. We take it seriously. We won't let you down.
Starlink constellation deploy confirmed.
What we are experiencing at this moment in time, the turning point in man's reach for space, going from governments to private companies like yours.
I think we're at the dawn of a new era, and I think it's going to be very exciting. What we're hoping to do with SpaceX is to push the envelope and provide a reason for people to be excited and inspired to be human.
Musk started looking for ways to launch his new fortune into orbit.
I went to Russia to look at buying a refurbished ICBM, which is a very trippy experience. It was very bizarre. And when I tell people that, they're like, what?
Musk made 3 trips to Russia trying to buy an intercontinental ballistic missile called the Dnieper. His plan was bizarre. Put a greenhouse on the rocket, landed on Mars, and beam back the pictures.
It'll get people really excited, and that would recharge human space exploration. That was my original idea.
You just wanted to get people interested in space again?
Yes. Yeah.
Capture the imagination?
Yes. That was the idea.
Turns out the Dnieper was so expensive, his idea never flew. So Musk decided that the only way to get an affordable rocket was to build it himself. And he started SpaceX.
Why even begin?
When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor.
How much of your personal fortune have you poured into this?
$100 million.
$100 million into something that you did not believe would work at the beginning.
Yes, I think it's important that humanity become a multi-planet species. I think most people would agree that a future where we're a spacefaring civilization is inspiring and exciting compared with one where we are forever confined to Earth until some eventual extinction event. You know, that's really why I started SpaceX.
So how did you go about acquiring the knowledge?
Well, like I said, I read a lot of books, talked to a lot of people, and have a great team.
4 years after starting, SpaceX rolled out its first rocket, an unmanned booster called the Falcon 1.
Falcon has cleared the tower.
But the first 3 test flights failed to reach orbit.
We are hearing from the Launch Control Center that there has been an anomaly on the vehicle.
When you had that third failure in a row, did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up. I mean, I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated.
It turned out that the third failure was caused by a 2-second glitch in the timing. 8 weeks later, Musk bet the company on another flight.
We have liftoff.
And this time around, everything worked.
Perfect.
If that 4th launch hadn't worked, that would have been it. We would have not had the resources to mount a 5th.
You couldn't have gone out at that point.
Yes, death would have been, I think, inevitable because we did not have the resources to mount a 5th launch.
This is a tricky business.
Tricky.
So the pivotal breakthrough that's necessary, that some company has to come up with to make life multiplanetary is a fully and rapidly reusable orbit-class rocket. This is a very difficult thing to do because we live on a planet where that is just barely possible. If gravity were a little lower, it would be easy. If it was a little higher, it would be impossible. Even for an expendable launch vehicle, where you don't attempt any recovery, after a lot of smart people have done their best to optimize the weight of the vehicle and the efficiency of the engines and the guidance system, everything, you get maybe 2 to 3% of your liftoff weight to orbit. That's not a lot of room for error. So if your rocket ends up being just a little bit heavier, you get nothing to orbit. And this is why only a few countries have ever reached orbit. So a very difficult thing. This has been attempted many times in the past, and generally what's happened is when people have concluded that success was not one of the possible outcomes, then the project's been abandoned. Now, we could fail. I'm not saying we're certain of success here, but we're going to try to do it. If you want to try to come up with an innovative breakthrough, that's going to be how it is. Anything which is significantly innovative is going to come with a significant risk of failure. You've got to take big chances in order for the potential for a big positive outcome. If the outcome is exciting enough, then taking a big risk is worthwhile. Yeah. That's really how I approach it. But then once executing down a path, I actually do my absolute best to reduce risk, or to improve another way of saying it, to improve the probability of success, because when you try to do something that is very, very risky, that you have to spend a lot of effort trying to reduce that risk as you embark down that path. I mean, I think I'm kind of constitutionally just geared to just keep going. I don't know. It's yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it certainly there are times when things don't go well, and then that's quite dispiriting for sure. And so then it's difficult to proceed with the same level of enthusiasm. But I do think the things that we're doing are pretty important to the future, and if we don't succeed, then it's not clear what other things would succeed, and if we don't succeed, then we will be certainly pointed to as a reason why people shouldn't even try for these things. So I think it's important that we do whatever is necessary to keep going.
There are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight in the way that you're developing it, and I wonder what you think of that.
I was very sad to see that, because those guys are, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough. I wish they would come and visit and see the hardware that we're doing here, and I think that would change their mind.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
So we have an animation that shows you how Dragon will work. So let's roll that animation.
Launch trajectory countdown net. Pad is clear. Go for launch.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition, liftoff.
Separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition.
Dragon, separation confirmed. Separation visually confirmed.
Mains have been deployed.
Good morning, welcome aboard. Dragon, SpaceX, comm check, ground stations.
SpaceX Dragon, we're go for launch. Let's light this candle.
3, 2, 1. Ignition, liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA, go SpaceX, Godspeed, bottom dog.
On behalf of the entire launch team, thanks for flying with Falcon 9 today. We hope you enjoyed the ride and wish you a great mission.
We would like to welcome you aboard Capsule Endeavour. We do have a friend on board with us, Trimmer, the Apatosaurus. I think I was requested to do a backflip. Good night, Megan and Theo. And Karen and Jack.
MD Houston flight. Houston is go for undocking and departure.
Dragon is committed to undock.
SpaceX Dragon on Dragon to ground. We are ready for the systems brief.
Copy. As stated, Dragon's in a healthy state. We are proceeding toward the primary landing site, and your timeline is current. Visual, 2 drogues out.
300 meters. We are braced for splashdown.
Copy, brace for splashdown. Endeavor, on behalf of the SpaceX and NASA teams, welcome back to planet Earth, and thanks for flying SpaceX.
Most space organizations, government or commercial, have set their sights too low. They've really built relatively small rockets. And Falcon Heavy is the first time that there's something that's arguably even in the super heavy class, or somewhere between heavy and super heavy. 5 million pounds of thrust is a really crazy amount of power. More than twice as much payload as any other rocket in the world. It can launch things direct to Pluto, no stop needed.
Hotels in the area are completely sold out.
Yeah.
Parking lots are packed.
It's like the first time something exciting has happened in rocket launch in a very long time.
Falcon Heavy is configured for flight.
T-minus 15, stand by for terminal count.
SpaceX Falcon Heavy, we go for launch.
10, 9,
All systems command is green.
Side booster ignition.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
boosters. Beacon.
On the 24th of May, SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 rocket filled with 60 satellites into space. This marked the beginning of their ambitious new project called Starlink, which aims to provide high-quality broadband internet to the most isolated parts of the planet, while also providing low-latency connectivity to already well-connected cities. SpaceX aimed to make their broadband as accessible as possible, claiming that anyone will be able to connect to their network if they buy the pizza box-sized antenna, which SpaceX is developing themselves.
The focus is going to be on creating a global communication system. This is quite an ambitious effort. So we're really talking about something which is, in the long term, it would be like rebuilding the internet in space. And the goal will be to have a majority of long-distance internet traffic go over this network, and about 10% of local consumer and business traffic. Speed of light in vacuum is somewhere 40 to 50% faster than in fiber. So you can actually do long-distance communication faster if you route it through vacuum than you can if you route it through fiber.
This launch of 60 satellites was just the first of many. SpaceX has 12,000 satellites planned for launch over the next decade, dramatically increasing the total amount of spacecraft around Earth's orbit.
The money from the Starlink satellite business is financing Musk's plan to colonize Mars. You might think that is a weird goal for a supposedly profit-oriented company because such a venture is not going to generate revenue or profit. However, it has always been Musk's dream to set up civilization on Mars. Being in a position to attract funds or use his own, he is pursuing it. Musk also thinks humanity needs to start living on planets apart from the Earth to stand a chance of surviving any cosmic disaster that might wipe out the Earth.
Fundamentally, the future is vastly more exciting and interesting if we're a spacefaring civilization and a multi-planet species than if we're not. You want to be inspired by things. You want to wake up in the morning and think the future is going to be great. And that's what being a spacefaring civilization is all about. It's about believing in the future and thinking that the future will be better than the past. And I can't think of anything more exciting than going out there and being among the stars. That's why. But now we think we've got a way to do it. We want to have one system, one booster and ship that replaces Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, and Dragon. So if we can do that, then all the resources that are used for Falcon 9, Heavy, and Dragon can be applied to this system.
This is I think the most inspiring thing that I've ever seen, and I'd just like to thank the SpaceX team and the suppliers and the people of Boca Chica and Brownsville. Thank you for your support, and just like, wow, what an incredible job by such a great team to build this incredible vehicle. The point of this presentation and this event is really there are two elements to it. One is to inspire the public, get people excited about our future in space, and get people fired up about the future. There are so many things to worry about, so many things to be concerned about. There are many troubles in the world, of course, and these are important, and we need to solve them. But we also need things that make us excited to be alive, that make us glad to wake up in the morning. And be fired up about the future and think, yeah, the future is going to be great. You know, and this space exploration is one of those things. And becoming a spacefaring civilization, being out there among the stars, this is one of the things that I know makes me glad to be alive. I think it makes many people glad to be alive. It's one of the best things. We're faced with a choice. Which future do you want? Do you want the future where we become a spacefaring civilization and are in many worlds and out there among the stars, or one where we are forever confined to Earth? And I say it is the first. The critical breakthrough that's needed for us to become a spacefaring civilization is to make space travel like air travel. With air travel, when you fly a plane, you fly that plane many times. I mean, at the risk of stating the obvious, really almost any mode of transport, whether it's a plane, a car, a horse, a bicycle, is reusable. You use that mode of transport many times. And if you had to get a new plane every time you flew somewhere, and even have 2 planes for a return journey, very few people could afford to fly. Or if you could use a car only once, very few people could afford to drive a car. You have a structure that is also incredibly mass efficient. And then that all needs to come back to the launch pad and be able to be refilled with propellant and flown again very quickly, just like an aircraft. Earlier I was talking about how Starship enters and how it's controlled. It's quite different from anything else. It's really falling, and so we're doing a controlled fall. So with a rocket, you're actually trying to brake, as opposed to, you're trying to create drag instead of lift. It's really the opposite of an aircraft. You want the most amount of drag that you can produce. So Starship is coming in. If this platform is the Earth, it's coming in at hypersonic velocity like this, sort of at around a 60-degree angle. So it comes like this, and then starts falling, and then just falls like a skydiver, and it's just controlling itself, and then it turns and lands. There you go. See? Same thing. Look better with the hand? Okay. But it'll look totally nuts to see that thing land. Yeah. That'd be crazy. Wow. The ship will have a total of 6 engines, 3 of the sea level variety of Raptor, and those are actually on the rocket right now. So we have the 3 sea level. In fact, that's a picture of just inside that skirt. That's what it looks like. So we've got the 3 sea level Raptor engines, and they gimbal, which means that the whole engine moves. So the way a rocket steers is by moving the entire engine. And 3 vacuum engines that are optimized for efficiency that will not move. So they will be just fixed in place. And that allows us to have the biggest bell nozzle for the vacuum Raptor engines. Ultimately, we decided to have heat shield hexagonal tiles, ceramic tiles that are basically like a tiny glass vermicelli. Another key step is refilling on orbit, so that the Starship can get to orbit with, let's say, 150 tons of payload for the Moon or Mars or beyond. And then it can get tankered to fill up its propellant tanks. And so that it can depart from low Earth orbit with 1,200 tons of propellant. This is a very big thing, so that your delta velocity is enough to transport literally 150 tons to the surface of the Moon or Mars.
Right now we have successfully landed in the landing zone, right on the concrete.
We've been working for the last year with 3 partners who will help us achieve the next human mission to the moon. Because we know that this first step to the moon will then lead us to go to Mars. And we know that the human landing system is one of the first steps to get us there. And so we've been working with Dynetics, a Leidos company. We've been working with Blue Origin, who have partners of Draper, Lockheed Martin, and Northrop Grumman. In addition, we've also been working with SpaceX.
This is a very, very exciting time for the Human Landing System program. They've spent a lot of blood, sweat, and tears over this last couple years getting ready for this moment.
We're really excited to bring you the announcement of who NASA is going to continue to finish out the human landing system and take humans back to the moon. NASA has chosen SpaceX to return us to the moon. I am so excited to partner with SpaceX in this fantastic endeavor for the Artemis suite of missions. So congratulations to the SpaceX team. The SpaceX design is a single-stage solution using their Starship. It provides extensive volume for the crew with 2 airlocks and ample down mass capability. The SpaceX proposal included in-space propellant transfer demonstration and uncrewed test landing. So now that we've selected our partner, and for the next phase going forward, we have to make sure that the testing occurs, because we're not going to launch humans until we have a successful test. So we will be working to make sure that the design and everything that we have going forward so far is ready to go.
So the human landing system is going to allow us to be able to access different parts of the lunar surface. But it also allows us to explore a new technology and capabilities that will help us when we are trying to figure out our next round of technologies to be able to help us land on Mars or other planets out there.
I'd like to thank the companies for the great work this past year. We've all learned a lot. I'd like to thank the NASA team, because you have definitely risen to this challenge.
It is one more step and an exciting group of steps that will get us to a sustainable human landing system to the moon.
All right, great. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. All right.